Ablative absolute. 2 September 2016, 1:50 p.m., 42 degrees, 26 minutes, 41.6 seconds north, 87 degrees, 49 minutes, 32.5 seconds west. We spent 2 or 3 days in Turin, in some hotel that must have been so boring that I don't remember a thing about it. Why the extra days? As far as I could tell, the imperial family had things to do. Henry and the two Gozzilos had some meetings with his various allies, of whom apparently he had lots more in Italy than in Germany. I would have loved to tag along, but I wasn't invited. Conrad wanted to see his favorite soccer team play, so Bruno talked Bertha into letting him take the kid to a Juventus match. I got involved when I looked up the club's schedule on the internet. At first it looked like Juventus was in town, but then I realized they were playing in the wrong Stadio Olimpico. They were actually way down in Apulia, the heel of the boot, in a town called Lecce, a dilemma for which Bertha started to blame me, like I should have planned my whole trip around the Juventus versus Inter Milan match 2 weeks earlier. But Bruno had a great idea. He took Conrad to see Juventus Primavera, the under-20 squad, and he convinced the 3-year-old that the reason there was no huge stadium and no screaming crowd was that this was a special match, staged just for the benefit of His Royal Highness Sua Alteza Real, the visiting Duke of Lower Lotharingia. Except now, looking back, I think maybe the idea wasn't so great after all. I mean, that kind of sycophancy, it's gotta fuck up a kid, wouldn't it? You gotta figure that's probably what happened to Henry. Bertha, for her part, had lots of shopping to do, and once Bruno had relieved her of her childcare duties, she stopped shooting dirty blame scowls at me and headed off to the gallerias and giolerias and calzolerias and whatnot. And as for the rabbit warriors and myself, well, left to our own devices, maybe we had a few too many birras and aperitivos. Lambert didn't approve of my condition when I stumbled into the room late one night. There must have been some logic to the roommate assignments that I can't recall, but at least I hadn't ended up wandering through the streets in the Ore Piccole, ready to confess dream crimes to the Carabinieri. And so, after those 2 or 3 days, the alliances established, the soccer game watched, the accessories purchased, and the cafes crawled, our vehicles joined once more into a convoy and drove on. If that sentence sounds funny, like a bad translation from Latin to English, it's my attempt at what they call an ablative absolute. I'm afraid it's the best I can do to describe that moment, our departure from Turin, because all this happened 7 years ago, and I don't remember the details.